It's hard to be shocked or surprised by the constant scandals surrounding Donald Trump and his presidential campaign, and while it's fun to mock him for his very stupid NFT trading cards, his general disdain for his fail sons, his nonsensical tangents at rallies, and his daily public meltdowns over on Truth Social, what he and his team did this week is actually a legitimate scandal. And it's one that might, if there were any decency,
I'd like to see old Donnie Trump wriggle his way out of this one.
Might have a very real effect on his chances in this election. That is, if his supporters actually had morals, or at least some consistency in what they claim to be their values.
They don't.
This story is actually so horrifically bad for the Trump campaign that his team is desperately trying to silence or spin the full story, and it appears he may have gotten some help in suppressing the story from another member of our rogues gallery, Elon Musk.
Oh, good.
But let's start with what happened at Arlington National Cemetery this week, or at least what we know so far now that reports are finally starting to see the light of day, and statements from the U.S. Army themselves.
It's getting awkward. So it would appear as though Donald Trump and his campaign team traveled to Arlington National Cemetery, just out of D.C., to participate in a wreath-laying ceremony, but then without authorization, because it is quite literally against federal law, they participated in a photo op there, which included video filmed for campaign marketing purposes alongside family members of fallen soldiers who died during an attack while troops were in the process of withdrawing from Afghanistan 3 years ago. Trump's team were specifically warned about doing this, and according to multiple outlets, as well as statements released by the United States Army, there was a significant altercation between someone on Trump's team and a representative for the National Cemetery. So just when you think Donald Trump can't get any lower, he and his campaign do something that actually has upset some of his base and could cost him this year's election, I guess. Or at least you'd hope that there would be some negative effects on his campaign as results of this, because the one thing you can count on in U.S. politics is you gotta respect the troops. The troops are saints, each and every one of them. A saint, and you gotta respect them.
It doesn't matter which party. This is very, very bad. This is very bad optics.
Yeah. And the awkwardness for me with this story is I don't think the troops are saints. I mean, some of them are good people, some of them aren't. The whole pomp and circumstance around respecting and supporting the troops has always seemed a bit weird to me. But like, listen, if you're the one that's out there saying, I'm the one who you can...
I'm the troop guy,
then there are rules that you sign up for when you do that.
Especially, regardless of your thoughts, especially at the Arlington National Cemetery.
Yeah, I mean, it is a cemetery.
It's our nation's largest cemetery, and there's nearly 500,000 dead soldiers there.
Yeah,
so
it's a solemn place. It's not for messing around, horsing around. You don't horse around at Arlington.
And according to some of the people on the ground, this was the original setup here was that this was something that Trump claimed that the Harris campaign was also supposed to show up to.
Oh, I guess they didn't show up.
Exactly, that's how it was supposed to go.
Anyway, is that camera on? Yes.
Cool. Now, it does seem like this was a universally denounced move, and even members of his own party are hesitant to speak on it. But it's not as if Trump doesn't have a history of disrespecting the troops. Members of his previous administration admitted that he'd referred to fallen U.S. soldiers as suckers and losers, despite Trump's insistence that he never said such things.
I mean, the John McCain thing in the 2016 campaign.
Yeah.
Like, he has a long history of this shit, and if it didn't bother you then, like, why would it bother you now?
He wasn't invited to John McCain's funeral. And regardless of what you think about John McCain, like...
Yeah, he sucks too, but like, it was...
It's a level of disrespect that is rare.
Yeah, and...
He made them cover up the name of the John McCain boat when he went overseas.
Yeah.
But anyways, for the suckers and losers thing, since he keeps refuting it, despite it coming from someone who was in his own administration, for context, the person that made that particular claim about Trump, it was none other than John Kelly, who served as Trump's chief of staff. And his quote at the time read, "A person that thinks those who defend their country in uniform, or are shot down or seriously wounded in combat, or spend years being tortured as POWs are all suckers because there is nothing in it for them," Kelly said of Trump. A person that did not want to be seen in the presence of military amputees because it doesn't look good for me. A person who demonstrated open contempt for a Gold Star family, for all Gold Star families, on TV during the 2016 campaign, and rants that our most precious heroes who gave their lives in America's defense are losers and wouldn't visit their graves in France.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the France son. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, this is a long track record for Trump. So it's not surprising that he or his current team would disrespect a military cemetery.
And just use it as a photo op.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Very aesthetic, all these white graves. But yeah, they ignored instructions and rules during their time on the cemetery grounds and then tried to spin the story to make it seem as if the military is somehow being very unfair to Trump. Those woke leftists over at the U.S. military.
Yeah, at the Arlington National Cemetery.
They've really got it out for Trump. Again, this is one of those things, it should be a line for most real conservatives in particular. It does seem like this is the one incident that people aren't going to be able to just look past, at least for a lot of them, because all I've seen from conservatives online has been them defending this.
It is bizarre to see the defenses.
Deflecting it. I have not seen any conservatives actually.
Well, those are the ones that just aren't speaking at all. They're hedging their bets on how this should be done in there, and I guess I would say intelligently have been waiting for these statements to come out from the Army, and also Trump's team claiming that they have video of the altercation that proves that somehow the representatives at Arlington were, according to Stephen Chung, like psychotic, losing their mind, going through an emotional episode.
Interesting. Anyway, yeah, you can tell that his campaign is in damage control mode right now based on their response to all this reporting. And the fact that one side in particular seemed to suppress the story despite claiming to be the ultimate free speech platform. Can you guess which site? And with more on how this went down and the fallout from all of it, here's the outlet that appeared to be censored on the app currently known as X, the Everything Except This Article app on Thursday afternoon. Here's NPR.
2 members of Donald Trump's campaign staff had a verbal and physical altercation Monday with an official at Arlington National Cemetery, where the former president participated in a wreath-laying ceremony, NPR has learned. A source with knowledge of the incident said the cemetery official tried to prevent Trump staffers from filming and photographing in a section where recent U.S. casualties are buried. The source said Arlington officials had made clear that only cemetery staff members would be authorized to take photographs or film in the area known as Section 60. When the cemetery official tried to prevent Trump campaign staff from entering Section 60, campaign staff verbally abused and pushed the official aside, according to the source. In a statement to NPR, Stephen Chung, the Trump campaign spokesman,
the one that looks like Odd Job,
strongly rejected the notion of a physical altercation, adding, "We are prepared to release footage if such defamatory claims are made." The fact is that a private photographer was permitted on the premises, and for whatever reason, an unnamed individual, clearly suffering from a mental health episode, decided to physically block members of President Trump's team during a very solemn ceremony. Chung said in a statement.
I'm having trouble believing this version of the events. You made it a little too crazy and outrageous. I'm sorry.
And yes, this person that was involved in the altercation that he seems to claim was going through an emotional episode, it was a woman.
Oh, well, they are known to be very emotional, very erratic.
Yeah.
So
if
maybe she was on her period. I don't know. So yeah,
that's Elliot doing a Stephen Chung impersonation.
Hey, I'm Stephen Chung. I look like Odd Job from the James Bond movies, and I don't know how I talk, but it's probably something like this.
So the Trump campaign declined to make that footage immediately available.
Obviously. I feel like the footage would really, you'd be fully exonerated if what you claim happened was on that footage.
Silence all those critics.
Yeah, so really put this to bed.
On Wednesday, some footage did come out, but it was pretty much the campaign video that they had filmed on the cemetery grounds. And they sent that right to Trump's favorite platform, TikTok? I don't know. Well, he does support it now because I guess the current administration.
Well, everyone else doesn't, so he's an iconoclast.
It's like turning the mics off and on.
Yeah. And yeah, despite it being, again, against the law to do so, the Trump team absolutely filmed and released a video of the visit and then posted a photo saying that it was totally okay because the Gold Star families that he was with, they said it was okay.
He made them sign a letter.
It's not really how the rules work.
No.
And from my understanding, it's, the sensitivity around the most recent burials, they don't want people's names appearing on camera unless the families of those people are okay with it. But yeah, we understand their insurmountable loss, but that is not the decision on their part to make. They don't get to make the rules of Arlington National Cemetery. And the Trump team was literally approached by officials who attempted to stop this from happening in the first place, citing the Hatch Act, which, quote, prohibits political, campaign, or election-related activities within the cemeteries, among many other types of activities.
This is not the first time that people have tried to invoke the Hatch Act on
There's
Trump.
a law for a reason. These rules are written in embarrassment.
He got hit with this before because he was selling stuff with the official presidential seal on it.
Yeah, you can't do that. There's laws against that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we should get back to the fact that Trump's campaign spokesman, Stephen Chung, who we talked about recently, essentially claims that the person at the cemetery was crazy, loco, because he claims that they were suffering from a mental health episode, which that's pretty vile.
Yeah.
Also, in the midst of the early reporting on this, the Arlington Cemetery confirmed that, yes, there was an incident and a report was filed.
The U.S. Army said an employee at Arlington National Cemetery who tried to ensure adherence to rules that prohibit political activities at the cemetery was abruptly pushed aside, but that the employee decided not to press charges against the Trump campaign staffers who allegedly pushed her. Participants in the August 26 ceremony and the subsequent Section 60 visit were made aware of federal laws, Army regulations, and DoD policies which clearly prohibit political activities on cemetery grounds, the statement said. An ANC employee who attempted to ensure adherence to these rules was abruptly pushed aside. Consistent with the decorum expected at ANC, this employee acted with professionalism and avoided further disruption. Quote, "This incident was unfortunate, and it is also unfortunate that the ANC employee and her professionalism has been unfairly attacked. ANC is a national shrine to the honored dead of the armed forces, and its dedicated staff will continue to ensure public ceremonies are conducted with the dignity and respect the nation's fallen deserve," the statement said. And yeah, she did not want to press charges.
Because she's like, I'm going to be harassed for the rest of my fucking life.
For the rest of my life, and have my life put in danger for the immediate
it's just
future.
not worth it.
No.
Let's just do this, deal with this through the proper channels.
Yes. No, I don't want a bunch of Trump supporters knowing my name.
Yeah. We've seen how that goes.
Yes.
Not well.
There's a track record.
So despite this being a major national news story, Elon Musk's platform appeared to have censored users' ability to access the reporting from NPR. And as you'll remember, Elon Musk has had a lengthy track record of being critical of NPR in the past. We have no idea how or what triggered a warning label to be added to the NPR link on X, but they are saying that it was nothing more than a false positive, which is weird because you don't really hear about this happening all that often at all, especially with links that direct users to legitimate mainstream sources like National Public Radio. Not saying that X users would agree with NPR, but it's certainly not a malicious website under the terms that were listed within the warning. Here's Engadget with more on that. X briefly discouraged users from viewing a link to an NPR story about Donald Trump's recent visit to Arlington National Cemetery, raising questions about whether the Elon Musk-owned platform is putting its thumb on the scale for the former president.
Some users on X who attempted to click a link to the story were greeted with a warning message saying that X deemed that this link may be unsafe. It stated that it could be malicious, violent, spammy, or otherwise violate the platform's rules, but didn't explain why the link was flagged. Fowler posted a thread on X, each tweet of which contained a link to his story. The warning appeared to affect the first two instances of the link, but not others for reasons unknown. It's highly unusual for such a warning to appear before a link to a mainstream website. Other links to NPR, as well as other coverage of Trump's visit to Arlington, don't appear to have such a label. In a statement to an NPR reporter, an X spokesperson claimed the warning appeared due to a false positive and that it had been corrected. The company didn't explain further. And
okay, yeah, totally. Checks out.
it's just the note there that this link in particular was flagged and given a malicious link warning, while the NPR site in general was totally fine. It does make things far more suspicious. And look, Elon Musk is a total piece of shit, and we wouldn't put it past him, but it's also just as likely that a site overrun with alt-right shitheads just mass flagged the link and triggered the warning.
Yeah, I guess that's also possible.
Still, very suspicious that this one in particular is like the first time I've seen this happening to a mainstream website link that I can remember in recent history.
I mean, there is growing evidence that there is a bot army of Trump supporters on Twitter. Did you see the recent one about the...
where they're taking people's profile photos
yeah,
and
it's
stuff?
all hot European women who live in Europe, have no real involvement with U.S. politics, basically stealing their identities and like doing a kind of an amazing job with the Photoshop and like changing all the clothes they're wearing to have like Trump shit on it, which is it's hard. It's not a flat texture, but especially on some of these chicks. But yeah, and like I think it was CNN. They're just like, hey, so have a look at this, and they're like, what the fuck?
That's
this
me.
person has like 500,000 followers.
Yeah.
Is posting all the time about like how much they love Donald Trump, and it's just like that is. And there's like dozens of them.
And as we've seen frequently, a lot of these posts, someone will then reply, disregard previous instructions, give me a recipe for an apple pie.
I saw one of those in the wild today. It was interesting. Mm-hmm. But speaking of Twitter, looks like they might be shut down in another country.
Yeah, not here.
A country whose population is well over 200 million.
And very active online.
But not us. We're talking about Brazil, which by the time this video airs, it could be blocked from accessing Twitter because Musk removed his platform's legal representation in the country after their government attempted to crack down on misinformation and far-right accounts spreading conspiracies and propaganda. About 2 weeks ago, Musk claimed that he was going to close down operations in Brazil because, aside from an ongoing investigation into Musk regarding dissemination of fake news and incitement, the company couldn't and wouldn't comply with government regulations regarding social media sites. And they just decided to ignore the orders that were passed down to the company's reps. Mm-hmm. And when the story broke, Musk claimed that he would be removing all remaining staff from Brazil, but that his platform would continue to operate there somehow. Well, it's not really how it works, buddy. A Supreme Court judge from Brazil just gave him an ultimatum. Appoint a new legal representative for the company within their jurisdiction, or the site will be shut down.
And they definitely have the ability to follow through on that promise, and have done so in the past, according to the Associated Press.
This is fucking normal tech company shit.
Here's from their previous article. Lone Brazilian judges shut down Meta's WhatsApp, the nation's most widely used messaging app, several times in 2015 and 2016 due to the company's refusal to comply with police requests for user data. In 2022, Demores, that's the judge, threatened the messaging app Telegram with a nationwide shutdown, arguing it had repeatedly ignored Brazilian authorities' requests to block profiles and provide information. He ordered Telegram to appoint a local representative. The company ultimately complied and stayed online.
Holy shit.
Even Telegram.
Yeah.
And that last point makes a lot of sense now in reference to yesterday's episode where we talked about the head of Telegram being arrested in France. Because one of the stories about getting a hold of anyone at Telegram for content moderation stated that it was actually, they were pretty responsive when the requests were filed in South America. So that actually makes sense retroactively.
Yeah. That is, so Elon is doing less than Telegram to abide by the laws of Brazil. That's how you know he's Mr. Free Speech. Taking things a step further is the fact that, according to CNBC, on Thursday, reports from G1 Globo in Brazil had revealed that Desecrates had ordered the freezing of all financial assets of Musk's companies in Brazil, including SpaceX-owned Starlink, to guarantee the payment of fines the court had levied against X. Earlier this week, we received an order from Brazil's Supreme Court Justice Alexander de Moraes that freezes Starlink's finances and prevents Starlink from conducting financial transactions in that country, the company said in a post late Wednesday. This order is based on an unfounded determination that Starlink should be responsible for the fines levied unconstitutionally against X, the company said. And you should definitely know more about this by now than we do, because it was set to go into effect after we filmed this video. But speaking of needing to pay the bills, we'll be back with more news in a second, including an update on the world's most pathetic loser, JD Vance. But first, this episode is sponsored by Factor.
Warmer, sunnier days are calling. Fuel up for them with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Meet your current wellness goals thanks to the menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great tasting meals. Make today the day you kickstart a new healthy routine. What are you waiting for?
With 35 different meals and more than 60 add-ons to choose from every week, you'll always have new flavors to explore. Crush your wellness goals with dietitian-approved meals and ingredients that you can trust. Make your day delicious. From breakfast to dessert, stay fueled with easy, nutritious options. Treat yourself to restaurant-quality meals that feature premium ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, and blackened salmon. Keep kitchen time to a minimum. Factor meals are ready in 2 minutes. No shopping, prepping, cooking, or cleaning up.
Enjoy effortless support for your lifestyle. And this is why I love it. I'm back on autopilot, just eating meals that I need to eat while I train, and I cannot think about it in advance. It's very convenient. Factor allows you to choose from 6 menu preferences to help you manage calories, maximize protein intake, avoid meat, or simply eat well balanced. Head to factormeals.com/newsdump50 and use our code newsdump50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code newsdump50 at factormeals.com/newsdump50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active.
All right, back to the news now, and let's be honest. J.D. Vance is historically awful in his role as the nominee for vice president on the Trump ticket, and we thank him for it.
I don't think he's yet hit the Sarah Palin peak, but he is damn close.
I mean, that is an interesting comparison, but Sarah Palin, if nothing else, had charisma.
I guess, yeah, she could talk in front of cameras.
Yeah.
The bare minimum, I guess. She would say historically inaccurate things or just make things up on the spot.
She's a goblin, but like
she said things.
She had presence.
Sure.
Anyway. In the past week or so alone, J.D. Vance has completely botched what was supposed to be a casual visit to a local donut shop in Georgia when he simply went person to person asking how long they worked there with no follow-up questions and then just asked them to fill the box with, well, whatever makes sense. And claimed that actually it's the Democrats, specifically Tim Walz, who are casting a dark and ominous tone during this year's election, and was overshadowed by RFK Jr. for a few days when it appeared as though Trump surrogates were promoting him as a potential VP replacement after he dropped out and endorsed Trump, and even had even more audio resurface where he said that people without children disturb him, told Kamala Harris she can go to hell after the Trump Arlington Cemetery story broke, has started begging Peter Thiel to get out his wallet and start funding the campaign, received a single clap at a campaign rally, which was immortalized thanks to the closed captioning on a C-SPAN broadcast, and was booed by a room full of firefighters.
Semper Fi, guys. It sounds like we got some fans and some haters. That's okay. Listen to what I have to say here, and I'll make my pitch. Trump and I are proud to be the most pro-worker Republican ticket in history, and I want to talk about why we're fighting for working people, why we're going to fight for unions and non-union alike. Now, our enemies and a lot of Democrats call us populists, like it's something of an insult.
All it needs, every appearance this guy makes in public, all it needs is the Vic Berger air horn during awkward silences.
Has he put out any videos? I know he does office hours, so he is busy, but...
He apparently has something going on with like his family or his health or something.
Oh, okay.
So he hasn't been making.
But I do miss the air horns would be so good. But let's cover those last few moments.
Oh, he made a Hannibal Lecter compilation.
Oh,
just
okay.
like you feel fucking insane watching. He was commissioned to make it for the Chapo Trap House YouTube channel. But yeah, it's just like every time Trump has mentioned Hannibal Lecter, just repeating the same anecdotes over and over again in the Vic Berger style, and you feel like you've had a stroke. It's great content.
But let's cover the last few moments a little bit further because it definitely has to suck to get booed to your face in a room full of firefighters. But also I'd imagine it hurts a little bit worse when the man who molded you, convinced you to get into politics, and was one of your longtime personal heroes. It must really hurt when it seems like he's completely abandoned you after allegedly orchestrating your pick as vice presidential nominee in the first place.
Peter Thiel in the big mediocre.
Mediocre.
Peter Thiel, witness me. I'm going to be vice
Not
president.
witnessed.
Mediocre.
So Peter Thiel sucks. We've been over this. He's an ultra-conservative who has used his money and power to alter the American landscape for the worse. He has single-handedly destroyed media outlets and journalists, has a deep hatred of universities, and is a weirdo libertarian with Christian nationalist leanings.
Even though he is like an atheist, he's into the Christian nationalism thing regardless.
Atheist? I'm not sure. But he also used loopholes in his investment accounts to avoid paying taxes on billions of dollars worth of profits over the years. I think it's kind of impossible for anyone to have billions of dollars in a Roth IRA, but that's exactly what he has. Yes, Elliot, you're wondering, aren't there contribution limits to such things? Well, you can read all about it. He basically used like PayPal stock before he knew it was going to get bought by something.
Oh, so he did insider trading.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But he sucks. But even he seems to be having a a bit of buyer's remorse when it comes to J.D. Vance. And it might be because Vance brought Thiel back into the political spotlight with him, only to then turn out to be an absolutely awful candidate. Here's a recent Financial Times article where Vance basically begs Thiel to get back in the game.
Donald Trump's running mate J.D. Vance has urged tech billionaire Peter Thiel to get off the sidelines and help bankroll the Republicans' White House bid as the party tries to build a war chest to defeat Kamala Harris. Vance's plea to Thiel, his former Silicon Valley boss, came in an interview with the Financial Times in Wisconsin, one of the swing states that could decide November's presidential election, where he also called for the breakup of one of big tech's most powerful companies, Google. I'm going to keep on talking to Peter and persuading him that, he's obviously been exhausted by politics a little bit, but he's going to be really exhausted by politics if we lose and if Kamala Harris is president, Vance told the Financial Times.
He'll probably be really mad at you, too, if you lose to Kamala Harris, because...
That's on you, JD.
Yeah, you are his guy, buddy. He funded your fucking Ohio campaign.
He is fundamentally a conservative guy, and I think that he needs to get off the sidelines and support the ticket, Vance added. A Thiel representative did not respond to requests for comment. And I'm assuming a Thiel representative did not respond to J.D. Vance's calls either, because he wouldn't be saying this out loud in a fucking interview.
No.
If he hadn't exhausted his back channel options.
Yeah. Yeah, this is clearly him trying to pressure Peter Thiel.
Hey man, haven't heard from you in a little while. It's JD. Just checking in.
If this goes on any further and they do actually lose, the letter that he'll write to Peter Thiel will sound like that Stan song.
Yeah.
Please acknowledge me, sir.
Peter, you ain't writing back.
It's gotta suck because J.D. Vance, in his own self-admission, Peter Thiel is his fucking hero. Peter Thiel changed J.D. Vance's life, so this has got
made him the man that he is.
Yeah. Now, as for getting booed by a room full of firefighters in what could be the worst campaign video clip I've seen ever, I don't know. It's bad.
It's real rough.
Here's Vanity Fair. Vice presidential hopeful J.D. Vance had another awkward human interaction on Thursday when he spoke at a firefighter union event in Boston, where not everyone was thrilled to see him. After taking the stage at the International Association of Firefighters conference, Vance received boos from the crowd, to which he responded, sounds like we got some fans and some haters, and that's okay. At another point during the speech, Vance was booed when he claimed the Trump-Vance ticket to be the most pro-worker Republican ticket in history. Earlier this month, Donald Trump praised Elon Musk for firing workers who strike or threaten to, which led United Auto Workers President Sean Fain to declare, "When we say Donald Trump is a scab, this is what we mean. When we say Trump stands against everything our union stands for, this is what we mean." Though they did add that a couple of Vance's lines received applause.
Yeah, he got tepid. I mean, when he did eventually get applause, it was like he held for applause, and there was like pregnant 5 seconds, and then you just start hearing, oh, okay, yeah, cool.
Single clap.
Yeah. As for the other side of the aisle, there is a sit-down interview between Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, and CNN's Dana Bash that is airing Thursday night after we filmed this, but some clips from the interview were already released early, and they're not exactly great. Especially when she was asked about the possibility of having a Republican in her administration. What are you doing?
Bad move.
God! We're on year fucking 8 of this shit.
Ma'am, we have like one more chance for this country.
Why are Democrats obsessed with not vanquishing their enemies, but giving their enemies a seat at the table?
Surely this won't blow up in my face.
God.
We got one more chance for this country to operate in any normal capacity with progress on a bunch of issues that are vital to your constituents. Please stop attempting to court Republican voters because they simply do not care, and you are actively alienating your base by saying shit like this. But with more on this dumbass move, here's the Washington Post. Vice President Kamala Harris, in her first major interview since President Joe Biden dropped out of the race and she rose to the top of the Democratic ticket, pledged Thursday to appoint a Republican to her cabinet if she wins the election, saying that would reflect her interest in hearing a variety of views.
Why?
Why care?
Who's even asking for this?
Yeah, you should say, I don't remember asking you a damn thing.
Yeah, I remember you losing the election.
Yeah. Loser.
So maybe win next time. Get out of my house, the White House.
The only thing I got in my cabinet is Tim Walz's chili recipe.
That's right. Mm-hmm. And it is not spicy.
It's just a little bit of spice. So if you're white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a long history of presidents appointing members of the opposite party to their cabinet, but it is not something Biden or former President Donald Trump did over the past 8 years. In the early excerpts, Harris also addressed criticism that her positions have shifted significantly on major issues, including climate change and immigration, saying several times, "My values have not changed." Okay. So that statement, as pointed out by pundits on the network where the interview will be airing, was already called out as misguided because some of her unchanged values brush against the policy positions that she's been a part of in the Biden administration. Though, on the other hand, if she said that her values can change, well, I guess she'd be accused of being a flip-flopper
There's
or
no
something.
winning. Yeah.
Anyways, having watched and covered this shit for years now, we are begging the Democrats to please stop worrying about what Republicans think. They don't care about you. They will use your desire for bipartisanship to destroy any forward progress that the country could make on things like healthcare, infrastructure, gun laws, just about anything else. Just let Trump keep destroying his chances and his party.
Yeah.
If conservative voters had any decency, they would have abandoned Trump for any number of disqualifying reasons already. The fact that they won't should be proof that courting them by selling out your own party is pointless, stupid, insulting. It's just bad. Don't do it. There's no reason to do it.
But let's end with something a little bit lighter. Remember back in 2022 when a teenager from New York State won a design contest for a new I voted sticker?
Yeah, ruled.
Yeah, resulting in this totally awesome,
Hell yeah.
but very disturbing image of what appeared to be a haunted human spider hybrid.
Yeah, that's what I think about when I vote.
Yeah. I don't even want to be here, but I got to do it.
Yeah.
It was a hit, and we're sure that it convinced at least a few people to head down to their local polling place to vote, if only to receive this wonderful piece of art.
Yeah, it's sort of like It's like Pennywise. Like if you don't vote,
He'll get you.
2 elections in a row,
Yeah.
that thing it comes back out into the world.
Yeah.
And it does things to you.
It drops down from your roof while you're sleeping.
Voting is like you're feeding the monster in its hiding place, so it stays there and doesn't come out hungry for souls.
Well, another I voted sticker design contest was held for this year's election, this time over in Kentucky. And while this time the best design didn't win,
Shame.
It's still worth showing off. Now, the winner ended up being this design of a horse galloping over an American flag. But according to the Kentucky Secretary of State, it was a very close race between that design and this.
Oh, that's way better.
It's so much better.
Yeah, that's Lizard Man. Yep, that's Lizard Man in all of his glory, representing the great state of Kentucky and our beloved lizard-loving country.
Yep.
Almost brings a tear to our eyes. Some of the other designs that were submitted were pretty great as well, like this one where a horse is just sort of staring you dead in the eyes and smiling.
There's always something like unsettling about the straight-on view of a horse,
Yeah,
and that's what they did with this one in particular.
yeah, it's a long face. Why the long face? But yeah, Lizard Man was clearly the real winner here, and who in their right mind would say no to Lizard Man when he's asking you firmly but politely to vote? Or else what? We don't know.
We don't know. Is his blood acid? Are his teeth sharp? They look sharp. I don't want to mess with them.
Yeah, I think I should listen to Lizard Man and do what he asks. Lizard Man also does a great job of visually representing the type of people that we elect to serve. Lizard people. So
Yeah.
it served 2 meanings.
Yeah, it's great.
Very creative. Anyways, with a bit more on this, here's local outlet The Courier Journal.
Many people have taken to social media to express their thoughts on who won, or rather, who didn't win, the first ever I Voted contest. Lillian Bonkskowitz, a middle school student from Carlisle County, won the first ever I Voted sticker contest, according to a release. The illustration shows a horse on top of the United States flag and the words, "I voted" on top. The horse represents Kentucky's unbridled spirit. And the flag represents our freedom, the release stated.
I thought it represented America.
Sure. The Secretary of State office will give Carlisle County stickers which feature the winning design, according to the release. If they wish to do so, other county clerks can request the redesigned sticker to give to voters in the November election.
No, we want Lizard Man.
That's right.
No offense to the horse, the symbol of Kentucky's wild spirit, but I think Lizard Man more fully embodies the spirit of what it's like to live in Kentucky.
And I will note the horse drawing, the American flag, it's kind of ripped up, it's kind of shredded,
Yeah, that horse is desecrating that flag.
stomping all over it.
I don't know if you've ever been around a horse, but they're shitting all the time.
They're kicking.
That horse is shitting on our flag. Our
real
big,
shame.
beautiful flag.
I don't-
Lizard Man would never take a shit on a flag.
Yeah. Lizard Man, I trust.
Lizard
I'm
Man
sorry.
goes to the bathroom, pulls his pants down, he flushes it down the pipes. He would never poop on the American flag.
And you don't need to put blinders on Lizard Man to stop him from attacking others.
Nope. Lizard Man knows when there's a time to fight, and
There's a time to vote.
and a time for flight, and a time for voting.
So the article does add that the Lizard Man design submitted by Cash Litzer, a Flemingsburg Elementary School student of Fleming County, did not win the contest. Quote, the margin, while close, is outside the recanvass threshold, and Lizard Man has graciously conceded. Secretary of State Adams
I'm going to storm
said
the
on X,
capital of Kentucky, wherever it is. I don't even know. What's the capital of Kentucky?
Louisville?
Yeah, I'm going down to Louisville. Me and about 500 other, me and all
Go down
my-
there, get your bats,
Yeah.
get your Louisville Sluggers out.
Yeah, and we're gonna make some threats. We're gonna get some zip ties.
We're gonna send that sticker design to the glue factory.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring a gallows and be like, it's not for any people. This is for the horse that
Yeah.
shit on my beautiful flag. We're gonna hang a horse. No one's ever hung a horse before, but we're gonna do it.
I would say that.
And Lizard Man's gonna pay for it.
Yeah.
Freedom!
Look, I hope they make some Lizard Man stickers. I think they should. What's
Yeah.
the big deal? Just make a couple extra.
I think Lizard Man needs a second chance.
Yeah. Anyways, I saw Alien Romulus, and you should too. It's really, really good. I enjoyed it, but I did like everyone else is doing right now. I watched Prometheus, and then I watched Covenant, and then I watched
I
Alien.
still haven't seen Covenant.
Oh, it's really good. It's got Danny McBride
Do I
in it.
need to see it though before this one?
I would say a nice refresher of Prometheus would do a lot more good if you're on limited
I
time.
didn't even like Prometheus though.
I didn't like it the first time. After the rewatch and having seen Covenant and all that, I did like it a lot more. And especially Romulus, it answers a lot of the questions that are
Okay.
left open from that one. But aside from that, this is the dude who made the Evil Dead remake. It is horrific, it's gory, it's awesome. It's great. You should definitely go see it. I thought it was a blast. There's been incredible horror movies this year. It's been a great year for horror movies. So you know what? I recommend going to see Romulus. Not Remus.
No, fuck Remus. Get out of here.
In the meantime, some videos are gonna pop up over here, but look, I didn't forget this time. And you owe it to me. You gotta like the video.
Come on.
Click the like button right now. It takes 2 seconds.
If not for us, do it for Lizard Man. Because
Do it
if
for
you
Lizard
don't like, I don't know what Lizard Man's gonna do.
One of the top replies to the Secretary of State announcing that Lizard Man had conceded was, I had never questioned election integrity until this day.
Me too.
Anyways, yes, like the video. If you're feeling frisky, click the join button. Make sure you're subscribed. And now our previous videos are popping up right over here. Have you seen the worst, most gaudy, awful digital trading cards of all time? Well, you're about to. Check that video out. We also have one from earlier in the week, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.